Chapter 173 to 176. On planet Namek. On December 24th. At approximately 6:32:13 p.m. With clear weather. Without much humidity or wind. Bomb. Slash. Plash. Fucking monkey. Goku Super Saiyan and Frieza fought rampant as they exchanged insults and other unnecessary appreciations as everyone else watched this legendary showdown. Vegeta looked at Goku with envy as he tried to understand in that battle what was the secret behind the Super Saiyan, like Yam, who tried to understand that power-up while watching with some pleasure how Frieza suffered before a real Saiyan. Broly doesn't count. Much like what Piccolo was doing, watching how Goku had become stronger than him, for now. Then there were Krillin, Ten Shinhan, Chaos, Mutant Rashi, Nail cheering on Goku, and even Ginger also joined the group of combat fans as she continued to punish Mutant Rashi for his past offenses. And obviously Broly, who continued to sit comfortably in his luxurious flying chair observing the combat eating delicacies so exquisite that not even the gods would imagine their existence, and observing and commenting on the combat, although nobody had asked him. And sometimes it also answers some of the typical questions that supporting characters ask while watching a fight. It is impressive, since he transformed he completely changed the course of the fight. Goku, how strong have you become? Krillin said/asked seeing how his friend and former rival had become much stronger than him once again. Specifically, the Super Saiyan multiplies the base power of the user in x50. Considering that the normal base power of a normal Saiyan is 3 million, in which both Goku, Vegeta, Yam and Ginger are stuck, the power of the Super Saiyan is 150 million. Broly said, kindly explaining the advantages of becoming a Super Saiyan. Bomb. Rash. 96%, 97%, 98%, 99%. 100%. I will repeat it one more time, the Saiyan race is too convenient, said Piccolo, who still felt a certain envy towards the Saiyan's convenient and instant power-ups to become strong when is necessary. Does the comparative grievance still hurt you? Come on Piccolo, you have impressive potential thanks to my valuable advice. Or maybe your body is getting too used to assimilating your clones and you are gaining less power with each assimilation in the same way that occurs when a drug loses its effectiveness when it is continuously consumed? Is this frustrating you? Broly said to mess with Piccolo affectionately in the same way he did with his relative Kami, but in a more sophisticated and inspiring way. TCH. Shut up. I don't have so little patience, Piccolo protested at Broly's mockery, as he swore to himself to be patient and train his mini-me's to absorb them later to become a little stronger over and over again in an endless process. Hiya. Eat this. It's Usos Frieza. Splap. Bomb. By the way. What did you do to make Goku transform into a Super Saiyan, and what the hell were those eyes? I've never seen anything like it. Can all Saiyans do that? You are very weird, Nail asked, who practically already felt integrated into the group, and was obviously curious about the strange abilities of Broly and his fellow Saiyan, although he couldn't complain either, he's a Namekian. And obviously that derogatory comment to the Saiyans made Vegeta react, no Saiyan can do that. Broly is the only freak. Both are a professional secret for now. Broly replied without answering as he continued to eat and enjoy the show. Flash. FIU. FIU. You will die here. Kiaj. GUHA. Kamehameha. Boom. Boom. Wow, they are both pretty even. I can't say who is winning, Ginger said as she continued to strangle Mutant Rashi, as he were a cushion to squeeze when watching a thrilling action or suspense movie with lots of plot twists. And Mutant Rashi, upon hearing that statement from Ginger, who kept harassing him while his friends and disciples watched them embarrassed, tried to feel superior to her in some way. It shows that you still don't know how to feel the key, if you know it you hitch. However, that was counterproductive, because Ginger, somewhat embarrassed, squeezed him even stronger than before to prevent him from finishing the sentence. Some of us want to enjoy this free violence. If you want to fuck, go to a motel. Broly yelled, scolding a certain part of the public for disturbing his enjoyment. Wahahaha. Ginger and Yam shouted, one due to extreme shame when hearing that comment and the other due to outrage and fear upon hearing that this could happen. But be that as it may, thanks to that Rashi was released from his grip and that the rest of the audience behaved like Vegeta, keeping quiet and watching only that exciting final fight. Uchiage. Pam. Boom. GGGGH. Fucking monkey. Flash. UHH. Clash. Wagi. Tom. Ugh. Kermum. UMG. Tom. Lookum. Bomb. Ah hi. Bomb. How's that, you damn monkey? It's that all? You, cocky son of a bitch. Aya. Bomb. OGUH. You. Fucking monkey. You are just a scion. Fucking Moki. Ha. Bomb. And seeing that Goku had acquired a great advantage in this fight, since he seemed to be playing with Frieza, some dared to ask. Broly-sama, do you have any of those popcorn left over? I haven't eaten for hours, said Chaos, who tried to be brave by asking the invincible monster for something, as he took refuge behind Ten. Yes, of course, serve yourselves. The fight is about to end and obviously Goku will win. Sorry for the spoiler. Do you also want some club of serious and quiet guys with hardly any sense of humor? Broly said as he materialized a flying table full of different stacks while addressing Yam, Vegeta, Piccolo and Nail in a somewhat offensive way. You are the one who said to be quiet, those affected thought, who ignored the snacks for a matter of pride. I can't believe how good this is. You have to try it. You will not believe it. Ginger yelled as she brought food from Toriko's world to her sister, whom she practically forced to devour all of that. It's useless, Frieza. You can't against me. Your power has decreased. Fighting against you is no longer fun. Get out of here. Don't commit evils again and don't show your face in front of me again. Don't you screw with me. Don't you screw with me. I won't lose. Mortal Disc. And since Broly had announced the match and seemed more relaxed, some dared to ask again. This Broly. Why doesn't Goku use the Kaioken to multiply his power? If he did, he could have defeated Frieza in one fell swoop a long time ago, asked Krillin, who wanted this conflict to end as soon as possible. He just can't do it. Let's say that the Scion bodies have the incredible ability to easily adapt to forced increases of power. That is the reason why Goku, unlike you, has been able to learn to use Kaioken so easily, when you are still incapable, although Rashi is very close to success. The Super Saiyan is something similar but without so many negative side effects and with extra advantages. Once a Saiyan manages to reach his biological limit power and therefore to its maximum energy tolerance and has awakened the S cells. The S cells under certain circumstances are activated and becomes a secondary source of energy that naturally nurtures and increases the power of a Saiyan, thus creating the Super Saiyan state, a state that once again pushes the Saiyon's body to the limit through that power multiplier. If you are somewhat clever, I suppose it will not be necessary for me to explain what would happen if Goku forced himself to exceed that limit with a technique as tyrannical and not very compatible like the Kaioken. Right? Broly said in a Socratic way for his friends and the public. That his body would explode or be seriously injured, Yam replied, who for the first time in a long time felt interested in a conversation coming from that group of madmen. Bingo. Also, it wouldn't multiply his total power, just his base. It is totally inefficient, dangerous and ineffective to use the Kaioken with the Super Saiyan, Broly replied, very happy to see that he didn't need to explain everything. Then, how about 2? You just don't get it. Foo. FLA. Foo. FLA. Foo. FLA. Foo. FLA. Foo. Foo. Bomb. UH. Plaska. Foo. Foo. The fight was almost decided, Frieza had little energy left and Goku seemed to have a plan to counter Frieza's deadly and convenient technique, which Krillin looked with special enthusiasm. However, despite the fact that this was a unique, celebrated and humiliating moment, since the one who would defeat the enemy of his race wouldn't be him, Vegeta couldn't help but think again and again about the conversation from before. So Vegeta, despite taking the risk of missing the moment Frieza died, decided to ask, wait a minute, before you said that there was a limit in our body and that Super Saw. Shut up Vegeta. This is the most interesting part, but Broly for more than obvious reasons interrupted him, the only one, since Goku was about to win. Foo. Slash. Oh no. Goku had cleverly got Frieza to cut himself in half with the mortal disc. Yes. Goku has won. Finally. The group of intimate friends shouted excitedly, in which Ginger was also included, hugging Rashi with great happiness, who could barely breathe, but he was happy. Kakarot. Well done, insect, Vegeta said proudly and somewhat angrily too, as Yam laughed at his expression. Ha! He has used his head to fight, Piccolo said as he complimented and despised his still rival, since thanks to Broly there were hopes that he wouldn't become a secondary without practical use from now on. However, the fight wasn't yet over. Frieza, as if it were a cockroach, wasn't dead despite being cut in half. And despite being half a body he still had energy left. Can you still move? Goku asked arrogantly, looking over his shoulder at Frieza. Normal, he was on the ground broken in half, he was short before, but now. Defeated by an insignificant and filthy monkey. Impossible. Frieza screamed as he tried to get the idea that he was completely screwed. You should have accepted my offer before. Now even I have less desire to continue beating you now that you're so scared. Live with the humiliation of being defeated by one of those monkeys that you hate so much, and don't make too much noise if you don't want me to give you a warning again, Goku said as he turned his back on his half-enemy and flew slowly towards his friends, who waited for him with a big smile and many snacks. Goku turned his back on an enemy which he now considered insignificant in his eyes. And that enemy, because of that, he felt more humiliated than ever. That enemy that he considered insignificant few minutes ago had left him in that state. That monkey had belittled him, had told him that he was afraid of him and had also spared his life. Believing himself superior to him. Frieza couldn't bear such humiliation. You fucking monkey. I'm the greatest in the universe. The Emperor of the Universe, Frieza. That's why. However, before he could continue his sentence, someone approached from behind. Your new line will be. A fucking monkey like you. No. All of you. Must die by my hand. And Frieza, practically at the same time that that person spoke, said, a fucking monkey like you. No. All of you. Must die by my hand. Obviously hearing that in that circumstance terrified the half Frieza. What? However, the fact that someone was reading his mind or seeing the future didn't terrify him as much as seeing Broly behind him, and more terrifying was that Broly used his telekinesis to lift Frieza's half-body and grab him by the head as if it were a basketball. Your next line will be. Why did you intervene? Didn't you say you wouldn't do anything in our combat? Broly said while performing a JoJo pose and spinning Frieza out of his head like a steel ball run iron ball. WHYDIDO UN TERV IN D Dient Yo US YU Wow LDient Do NYT Hingin OU Arco Bat. What? Tried to scream Frieza, which was spinning at exorbitant speed on Broly's finger, and he was obviously surprised once again by the fact that he knew what he was going to say. The answer is. Because the combat has already ended with your defeat and because you tried to destroy the planet with the energy you had left to kill those idiots. Being you and me the only survivors, since we can survive in space, Broly replied as he gripped his head tightly like a stress ball with the spin still activated. Something that obviously hurt, especially if you were dizzy, about to vomit from dizziness, full of wounds and you only have half of your body. I will respect Goku's wishes and I will not kill you. However, I think we've seen your filthy round face enough already, Broly said as he looked up at the sky and gathered energy in the arm he was holding Frieza with. No. Do you pretend? Frieza exclaimed as he sensed Broly's intentions. 3, 2, 1. Ignition. Broly yelled as he threw Frieza as if he were a ball. Towards space. Fu, ukuk, kkkkuu. And in a few seconds both his terrified voice and his half-body completely disappeared from the atmosphere of the planet Namek. Arigato. Yiro. Broly said in a melodramatic way to conclude that spin launch. Outer space. Near the planet Namek. Several minutes after Frieza was thrown. Frieza regained consciousness and thanks to his ability to survive in space and despite having his body half cut, his physical state was the same as that of a few minutes ago in Namek. However, her mental state had gotten worse in a terrifying way, and not because of space. How do you dare? How dare you do this to me? If only you. If that damn Broly had never appeared. If he didn't exist, I would have killed all that scum. Frieza thought, in space the sound is not transmitted, while observing rampant hatred the planet Namek. The same planet he looked down on a few minutes ago upon arrival. only one more planet in his long list of conquests. But now, it had become the planet he hated the most in the universe. No. I will do it. I'll do it right now. Frisia thought as he gathered all his energy to launch a desperate attack. A giant sphere of purple energy with which he intended to destroy the world from space. I should have done this from the beginning years ago. I should never have left any scion alive. Frisia thought as he watched his energy sphere get closer and closer to the atmosphere of the planet he hated the most in the universe. A planet that would disappear forever, and hopefully, with all the annoying beings that inhabited it. In few seconds. However, FLAU. The entire planet suddenly disappeared from view, but not due to his attack. Wait it? What the hell just happened? What is this? Frisia thought, who could barely process what had just happened before his eyes. However, when he could minimally rethink who had been responsible for his desperate attack a second time, he could only think of a single culprit, JJJJJJJ. Broly. Namek planet. Seconds after Broly turned Frisia into space junk. Broly without explaining why or what he was doing. Clash. Snapped fingers. And without apparently changing anything. Apparently. Our Z warriors, and especially the Namekians, sensed that something had happened. Broly, what did you just do? Piccolo asked, feeling great fear asking that same question. Question that greatly disturbed everyone here. Since it was likely that nothing had happened. Maybe. Nanny? Am I unable to feel Frisia's ki? What has happened? Goku said, who didn't understand the situation at all. Was then when almost everyone understood that what Broly had done was of such magnitude that from his limited and small point of view were unable to perceive it. So polite and casual Broly replied, that. I have moved the planet from place to another solar system, which I had to create from scratch to perfectly accommodate the orbit of this planet. The slightest variation could have caused another cataclysm. For this reason I had to create the new solar system, otherwise I would have put it to another more or less similar. You've done what? Absolutely everyone shouted upon hearing such surreal outrage. Surreal outrage that destroyed their already disturbed sense of logic and reality. We will discuss that with the Patriarch, Broly said as he snapped his fingers again to teleport everyone towards the big slug. And seeing how the whole group, except for Nail's colleagues, who were now fused with him, had returned safe and sound, he said, I see that you have won. I became worried at a certain point when I stopped feeling your presence, but it seems that I worried about nothing. Thank you. You're welcome, it was easy. By the way, do you want something to snack on? I know you don't eat anything, but damn it, we have to celebrate it, Broly replied, very satisfied with his work. You almost have done nothing. The others shouted mentally, who had been the ones who had fought and died against the aliens. Wait, don't change the subject. What do you mean when you said that you moved the planet to another solar system? Nail asked, who urgently needs to know what the hell was going on. He have done what? Shouted the Patriarch, who almost gave a heart attack when hearing that so surreal and scandalous fact. Yes, that. You Namekians never care about my snacks. It is obvious. Thanks to Frisia's army connections, now everyone knows about the Dragon Balls and Namek, therefore more ruffians would come to cause the same problems. If you had not moved to another world, something for which I see you little reluctant, it was only a matter of time before this story repeated itself. So I created a new solar system trillions and trillions of light years away from here in a hidden way and to accommodate this planet. Thanks to my incredible contribution you can enjoy a lot of intimacy again, Broly said, trying to pretend to be humble. Oh, K. Yeah. Everyone exclaimed, pretending to have understood and accepted what Broly had done. We will pretend that this is possible and that we shouldn't be scandalized or ask how the hell did you do it, Krillin said in amazement as he tried not to think too much about the repercussions of what he had just heard. As we always do, said Ten Shinhan, who was beginning to suffer the same symptoms as Krillin. Yes, as we always do. Aish. I'm too old for this shit, clarified the young mutant Rashi. Always? What kind of supernatural monster we were trying to kill? Nail, the Patriarch exclaimed and thought, and especially the 3 ex-enemy scions, who couldn't believe that at some point in their lives they had thought about killing this abomination. Yes, you're welcome. And aside from that, I think it would be better to bring your children back. I hope Kami didn't mind having his relatives at home for a little while, Broly said, snapping his fingers once more to perform a space-time action. Clash. And instantaneously, in front of the Patriarch's mansion, all the Namekians except Cammy were teleported from planet Earth. Obviously, that instant and unannounced change of location caused hundreds of different comments. Some very normal, in which he wondered about the abrupt teleportation, others asked about the outcome of the fight, and some began to comment about some of the stories that Cammy had told them, in which Broly was always the bad guy. However, our protagonist ignored those comments and continued with his to-do list, for what he said to the Patriarch, Nail, and the entire litter of Namekians, and now I would like you to accept this gift for the inconvenience we have caused you. Inconvenience? Not at all, quite the contrary. If it hadn't been for your help, I would have died knowing that everything I fought for would disappear, said the Patriarch with great education and appreciation. But Broly insisted once again, as if Broly and the Patriarch were fighting to pay the bill for a dinner, not. It's our fault. Well, Piccolo's fault that these guys came to this planet for the Dragon Balls. So I will try to make up for the inconvenience we have caused. In my way. Don't worry, I'll repair your house ladder. Just saying that, Broly broke the Patriarch's house as it were made of Lego blocks and looked at the sky while gathering energy in his body. My instincts tell me that we are about to see something unusual again, Yem said as he looked at Broly without blinking. And she was right, something incompressible happened again. What the hell is that? Ginger yelled upon seeing something extremely bizarre once again. Behind Broly, a very large, muscular, three-eyed ghostly anthropomorphic monkey that constantly changed color as if his fur were made of rainbows appeared, imitating Broly's movements. You guys are also capable of doing something similar? Nail asked upon seeing that strange and intimidating appearance that seemed to have some kind of relationship with the Broly's tail. No. We cannot. Far as I know. I don't know what to believe anymore. Vegeta replied, who no longer knew what to believe about his race, since Broly technically belonged to it. At that moment the mouth of that humanoid ape opened, launching into the sky a huge torrent of energy as if it were a super volcano erupting. Gourmet Demon Son Brolyong. Gourmet Spice. Energy that reached the extratosphere, and that due to gravity, the energy began to distribute throughout the world, falling like rain in all parts of the almost deserted planet. And every time that energy rain hit the ground. Look! Some young Namekians shouted as they pointed everywhere. This is a miracle, the older ones said between tears when they saw the landscape around them. Why were they so excited? Because where the rain fell the grass and the flowers sprouted again, the marshes became crystalline and full of beautiful fish, and the deserted places became dream forests with millions of fruit trees. It was as if their poor and desert planet, battered by a cataclysm a few hundred years ago, had become a paradise in a few seconds. Wow! Goku sighed upon see that non-combative but impressive technique. Like the rest of those who witnessed that strange miracle. It seems that I can finally die without any remorse, said the great Patriarch, crying with happiness upon seeing how his planet glowed even more than in the past. He wasn't the only one who cried, although he was the one who made it louder. What was that? Ginger asked with his mouth and eyes wide open, which like his companions hadn't been able to assimilate everything that had happened again. That ape is the appetite demon that I created for myself by merging the black, white, red, blue and green gourmet cells together with my mutant S cells and genetics. Basically I transformed part of my energy into gourmet cells using my appetite demon as a medium to repopulate this planet where no one eats with legendary ingredients. In this way they will take care of them for me and I can then collect everything since they only eats water. I'm a genius, right? Broly said, explaining his peculiar ability, and that he always had an evil plan hidden in every good deed he seemed to perform. The what? Ginger replied, without changing her facial expression at all. She hadn't understood anything at all. Neither she nor anyone else. Honey, for your own mental health, stop asking too many questions. It is a difficult beginning, but you will get used to this. Mutant Rashi said, giving good advice to the newcomer. Yes. I see. Ginger replied, still without changing her facial expression at all and ignoring due to shock the term by which Rashi had referred to her. Advice from Mutant Rashi that became generalized in the sparse population of that planet. So after receiving ovations from the entire population, attend the Patriarch's succession ceremony and his sad and emotional death. Our heroes and anti-heroes said goodbye to the kind and humble Namekian people to return to their planet. I hope the next time we see each other it will be in more pleasant circumstances, Nail told the Z Warriors, who were about to leave. I hope so. It may happen that I pick up a couple of things from time to time, and these irresponsible people may ever ask you to use the Dragon Balls when the Dragon Balls of Earth aren't enough to mask their failures, Broly replied as he warmly shook Nail's hand. Although that comment offended many people. Piccolo, aren't you going to stay and live with them? Asked Ten Shinhan, who already treated Piccolo as another of the family, even though his father technically nearly killed him and killed his best friend. No thanks. This place is very boring. Let's go, I want to get to Earth and continue my training, Piccolo replied, who tried not to give an honest answer. Piccolo dear. Broly said as he tried to hold back his desire to laugh. By the way, where had we parked the spaceship? The landscape has changed so much that I don't know how to locate it. Chaos asked as he tried to orient himself in that world so different from that of a few hours ago. But Broly saved him the trouble of searching for the luxury spacecraft. We'd better forget about the spacecraft for now. I have moved this planet so away from any other place that even with my incredibly intelligent and attractive girlfriend super spacecraft it would take a decade to return to Earth. So the best thing will be to resort to the old and reliable teleportation. What? Teleportation? Yam said, surprised upon hearing about such a convenient power. Don't ask yourself too many questions. It's for your own good, Piccolo said, who kept wondering what the hell were the dimensions in which Broly had trained him. With that said, Broly snapped his fingers again. He doesn't need to, but he likes to stage his powers, and instantly Chaos, Krillin, Ten Shinhan, Mutant Rashi, and Piccolo disappeared from the planet Namek. Being teleported into Master Rashi's house, and obviously they were wondering where Broly, Goku, and the others were. And not only them. Broly, where are the others? Why are we the only ones staying in Namek? Goku asked as he pointed at Vegeta, Ginger, Yam and himself. It is because you have to do something else before returning to Earth, answered Broly. And upon saying that, Broly summoned one of his clones, which began to open a space crack with his hands. What the hell is that? Are there two of them? Why, do they seem just as powerful? Vegeta yelled after understanding the implications of what he was witnessing. Pay attention to others, don't ask yourself too many questions if you don't want your head to hurt, replied Goku, who suffered the same migraines at one point in the past. And what is he doing? Gainer and Yam said upon see how they were dividing the space with their bare hands. What is this? A portal that leads to many answers and questions. Answers and questions you need but don't know what you want to hear. Answers and questions that frame your past, present, future, and reality. You fate itself. If you decide to cross this portal, many things may change from now on. Especially yourselves, Broly said in a very mysterious, ambiguous, crazy and intimidating way. What? Broly, are you drugged? The four answered in unison. That if you don't get inside my fucking portal you will have to walk back to planet Earth. My other body will stay here, I need to close certain businesses of certain ingredients. Broly said as he grabbed the four scions with his tail and threw them into the portal. Kai. The four scions screamed as they entered inside that unknown portal. Portal that possibly led to some extremely dangerous place. The same day. Or rather, night on planet Earth. ZZZZ. Gohan slept peacefully in his bed, from which he did not want to part, since when he woke up the next day he would continue to be sentenced to life in prison by his mother. A situation that he did not like too much, obviously. But luckily or unluckily destiny had something different prepared for him. Hey. Gohan. Gohan, wake up. Hey. I am talking to you. Do you want me to throw a bucket of water on your head? Hey. Broly-sensei. What are you doing here, at this time? Weren't you with my father at Namek? Gohan asked as he woke up surprised by the sudden appearance of his sensei. Especially when after rubbing his eyes to remove his eye boogers to check the time on his alarm clock it was 5 o'clock. You see, I would need you to come with me for a moment to a certain place. Don't worry, it will be just a moment, Broly said as he continued to give her little shoves to wake him up and get out of bed, something that Gohan refused to do. He was too sleepy. I can't, Broly-sensei. I'm punished, I can't leave the house, Gohan said as he closed his eyes to go back to sleep until 8 o'clock, when his mother will force him to study things he already knew. He had already had too much troubles with his mother and did not want to accumulate new ones. However. Sorry, but it's too late, Broly replied as he stole his cushion. Fact that forced Gohan to look up and realized something disturbing. He was not in his room. What? Where I am? Gohan shouted upon see that he was in a very strange place. It was as if he were in a space observatory from which stars, galaxies and planets could be seen from all sides. Or not. It was as if you were in a kind of bubble floating in the middle of space. And in that bubble of reality someone said to him, "Hey hi son. Have you also been thrown into a crack in space?" And that someone was obviously Dad. Gohan upon see his father Goku in that strange place. But Goku was not alone in that strange place. It's that damn brat. Nay-san, let's attack him now that he's half asleep and we're stronger. Don't talk nonsense, little sister. And those people were obviously Vegeta, Ginger and Yam. What are you doing here again? Have you come for the rematch? Shouted Gohan, who jumped out of bed, transformed into true Saiyan and put himself in a fighting stance upon detecting the great increase in power that his former punching bags had experienced. Cry Thryi. Ah. 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 Shut up mentally retarded addicted to expired LSD. I will not allow anyone to interrupt my class. Broly yelled while scratching a crystal, causing an incredible ear discomfort that stopped the possible fight. Class? Vegeta asked, who didn't understand anything at all of what was happening. What class? What the hell are you talking about? Goku also asked, who firmly refused to study at this point in his life. And obviously Broly answered in a vague and unnecessarily empty way, for now history class. Something necessary before talking about the future. And with that answer the bubble they were in moved at surreal speed through space, so much so that the landscape around them completely changed. Until they slowly arrived in front of a planet. A planet that 3 people there knew perfectly. Wait. That is Planet Vegeta. What the hell is going on? Ginger, Yam and Vegeta shouted upon see that the destroyed planet Vegeta was before their eyes totally intact. And upon hearing screams in his class, obviously Professor Broly had to ask for silence once again, don't interrupt. It's just a movie that I've created by analyzing data from the universe in that part of space-time. And yes, it is the planet Vegeta, previously called the planet Sadala. Whose name changed when a certain filthy, stupid and criminal family took the throne. What have you said? Vegeta yelled indignantly upon hearing that derogatory comment to his lineage. The fucking truth. Shut up and listen to the video I created. Broly said, asking for silence again. And as Broly said, a film narrated by himself began to be broadcast in perfect 3D surround. A film that explained the recent history of the Saiyans, where everyone could appreciate their uses and customs, how their society was ranked, what they ate, what kind of technology they used. But above all, their multiple crimes. It was shown and narrated how the Vegeta lineage sold their entire race to King Cold Planet Trade Organization for them to be used by him in his evil business of extermination of other races in exchange for protection and technology. Using that technology to send the most powerful to difficult to conquer planets, and the weak newborns to distant, unprofitable and weak combat level planets. Business strategy that continued when Frieza inherited the throne from his father Gold. These guys, no doubt they are despicable. How can you be proud of being like this? Shouted Gohan, who despite knowing the criminal history of the Saiyan race, seeing the atrocities they committed in this documental made his blood run cold. Opinion that his father shared 100%, and with me they did the same. Due to being weak I was sent to planet Earth on an almost suicidal mission to kill everyone. I have to say that I was lucky to be born weak, lucky that my biological parents discarded me, lucky that I came to Earth and Grandpa Gohan adopted me. But above all, that I forgot absolutely everything I was before meeting him thanks to that blow to the head. Otherwise, I would be a monster like them, or I would be dead, Goku said as he watched with hate the movie, in which was conveniently shown how dozens of Science babies were launched into space to kill things in that precise moment. Like his son he was completely disgusted by what he saw. However, unlike him, Goku was a direct descendant of a race of monsters without kindness and empathy. He had been a time bomb implanted on Earth to kill all who were now his friends. And not only that, he had really killed his grandfather. Surely the first living being who cared for him. The person who changed his life for good and led him on the side of justice. And his arrival on that planet and his damn Saiyan genetics were the cause of his death. A death that would have come regardless of whether Goku had lost his memory or not. He couldn't forgive himself, he couldn't be proud of what he was. What nobody expected is what Broly would say next. This is the case in the absolute majority of cases. But not yours. What do you mean? Everyone present in that bubble exclaimed, especially Goku, who did not understand why he was supposedly special. But immediately Broly set out to explain it. With another movie. Specifically with his own movie, which was released in theaters in 2018, I started this novel before the XD movie. And more specifically with the beginning of the movie where we could see the official version of Bardock. Yes, the old version was a TOEI animation version, but I prefer the old version. That's me. Goku said when he saw Bardock for the first time walking the streets of one of the cities of the planet Vegeta. No. That's your father Bardock. Stupid. You will appear shortly, Broly shouted to Goku, which was he typical idiot who did not know what was happening in the movie and asked constantly, something very annoying. My grandfather and my father are like 2 drops of water. Wait. Is that girl my grandmother? It seems kind, how strange. Gohan said upon seeing the conversation between Bardock and Jin at the butcher shop. Gohan also lived the movies too intensely, at least the ones about his family. GRJJJJ. You two are just as loud. Vegeta protested at not being able to hear what Ginger and Bardock were saying due their noisy descendants. Shut up Vegeta, I want to see the fucking film. Broly protested furiously as he threw a packet of popcorn at Vegeta's head. Something that the proud prince obviously didn't like at all. Why does he only mess with me? Furthermore, you make more noise than anyone. In addition, that's the movie you made. However, was normal for Vegeta to be upset with Goku and Gohan this time, since he was seeing the final moments of his own planet. He was watching the final moments of a visionary who was able to anticipate something that his father, King Vegeta, was unable to foresee. Bardock realized that Frieza was planning something. Something that was probably related to the extermination of the Scions. Not only that, he was also right about why Frieza wanted to exterminate them. The birth of a Super Saiyan. So following his intuition, that night Bardock and Jin stole a spaceship. I still can't believe any of that, Jin said as she followed her husband across a desolate wasteland. We'll go rescue him if it turns out wrong, Bardock replied as he carried a spaceship with the little cockroach inside. Why don't all 3 of us run away together? Jin asked again, proposing something very coherent. No, their scouters would find us right away, Bardock replied, giving a good reason why they should stay and perish if they wanted to save their son, unlike the case of Superman, who had no logic. But why do you have to go to these lengths? It's not like a Scion man to worry about his child, Jin asked upon seeing that unusual behavior in Bardock, although they were already a rather unusual couple. I suppose that after endless battles I have the fickle urge to save something now. Especially if it's my low-level warrior son, Bardock said, who after experiencing some peaceful life next to his peaceful wife was positively influenced, and felt the urge to do something good. I've programmed it for a distant planet called Earth. The race there has a low technological and combat level. Even you should be able to survive there, Bardock told little Goku that he was crying inside the spaceship as his parents spoke to him from the other side of the glass. Besides, it's not worth much, so the Frieza army probably won't attack it. Bardock is just being paranoid, so we'll come get you right away. Stay alive, no matter what. Jin said with great concern and sadness to the little Goku, who had stopped crying for some reason. Instead he looked at the painful expression of his parents, who did not want to take their eyes off him. See you later. Bardock said, putting his hand on the glass of the spaceship. And Goku reciprocally also put his hand against the glass, trying to reach his father's hand. Phew. A hand that was still placed on the glass of the spaceship as he watched the father and mother whom he tried to reach, move further away of him with each second. Kakaroto. Being his mother, covered in tears screaming his name and the last thing he could remember of his escape from the planet Vegeta. Memories that were buried in the history. Until today. My father and my mother were. Goku muttered as he tried to touch his biological father and mother by putting his hand on the glass, in the same way that in the past he tried to do to reach them. And just like in the past, without any success, couldn't help but crying. That. Vegeta muttered, who couldn't believe what he had just seen and the implications that all this had. Do you understand what this means? You were never abandoned and sent to planet Earth as a sacrifice to exterminate its inhabitants on a suicide mission. It was just the opposite. Nobody gave you orders to kill anyone. Your parents, who really loved you, sent you there with the sole purpose of saving your life. A mother who cried desolately for your departure and by the fact that she would probably never see you again. A heroic father who against all odds was ahead of the catastrophe and thought of you before his own life, and who until the last second was the only one that fought against Frieza with the only desire to see you again. A Scion father who sensed Frisia's fear towards the Super Scion and saved his insignificant son from that planetary destruction by taking him to an insignificant planet, and that ironically years later, with his same appearance, that weak and insignificant little baby returned as the Super Scion that Frisia feared to fulfill the wish that he could not. After this, do you still believe that being a Scion is so negative, Kakarot? Broly said as Goku watched without batting an eyelid how Bardock fought unsuccessfully against all of Frisia's soldiers as he attempted to make his way towards him, only to be destroyed in a futile attempt to reject the energy sphere that would eventually destroy the entire planet. And Goku, as he took his son Gohan in his arms and hugged him, who also cried a little when he saw the representation of what had happened in his father's childhood, he said with great inner peace, "No. I think not. There are always good people, even in the most horrible places. This is absurd." Vegeta said upon seeing how capricious destiny was, destiny that kicked him in the ass. "Your father was a great warrior," Yam said, seeing the great courage Bardock showed in his last moments. "A great Scion," Ginger said, seconding his sister. "At least he was in the last moments of his life, although he was always better than you with your stupid Scion pride. Pride that consists of being genocidal psychopaths. A shitey ideology implanted by the most criminal lineage in the history of the Scion," Broly said while looking with hostility and disgust at Vegeta. "Enough!" Vegeta yelled, very offended by the constant insults directed towards his person, race and family lineage. Vegeta was so angry that he forgot that Broly could disintegrate him with a single blink, and that he had never shown any sympathy towards him. "Enough!" Vegeta yelled, very offended by the constant insults directed towards his person, race and family lineage. Vegeta was so angry that he forgot that Broly could disintegrate him with a single blink, and that he had never shown any sympathy towards him. "You have no idea. My family took power because they were the strongest and the smartest. The most worthy and legitimate to lead the Scions. Something that was recognized by our entire race. So much so that was decided to rename planet Sadala to planet Vegeta in our honor." Vegeta the Fourth shouted, defending the honor of Vegeta first. And obviously Broly further exacerbated his infamy. What does that matter? Even scientists put their name to venereal diseases. Which is something very similar to what your ancestors did. Growling. "Do you know what the Scions were before my ancestor led them? They weren't much different than brainless, techless beasts trapped on a single planet, killing each other for food. It wasn't until my ancestors agreed with King Cold that we managed to be what we are now," Vegeta yelled, protesting again at Broly's accusations and insults. "Be what? A race of slaves under the command of a tyrant who makes a living by massacring innocent people? An almost extinct race by the hand of the one with whom you prostrated yourselves?" Broly said, mocking with extreme sarcasm of Vegeta and his arguments. Sarcasm and contempt that didn't make Vegeta hesitate for a second in his mission, defend the honor of his family and the pride of the Scion that his family had indoctrinated in his population, yes. Through massacres. All race. All civilization. All progress. All the glory is grounded over the corpse of millions of enemies and innocents. All our glory, power and recognition in the universe, we owe it to my ancestors. Thanks to them we are the most feared race in the universe. So much so that Frisia treacherously killed us for fear that the legendary Super Saiyan legend would come true. For fear that someone like you, someone like Kakarot, could be born among us. We only needed some more time to dethrone him. We just needed a little more time to be the absolute rulers of the universe. Ha 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 ha. Lovely. Do you really believe that, Vegeta? If I, the most powerful being born in all the universes, had demonstrated my power, you and your father would have tried to assassinate me or banish me from another planet before I mature for fear of dethroning you before killing Frisia. As for Goku or you becoming a Super Saiyan. Ha! If Goku had grown up under the system your family, he would never have become the Super Saiyan. Stop making excuses. Insect. Broly said as he got up from his luxury flying chair in a somewhat forced, furious and intimidating way as he looked at Vegeta. He looked at him as if he wanted to break his jaw to make him unable to speak again. And everyone, including Goku and Gohan, went on alert when they saw Broly's hand. A hand that was about to snap fingers. Everyone here knew that when Broly snapped his fingers the world changed radically. And this time his hand was pointed at Vegeta. Wait! Yam yelled, which came between Broly and Vegeta to prevent that his dwarf and with recessive hair were attacked. Clash. The snap had happened. And despite them nothing had happened to Vegeta or Yam. They hadn't been injured, turned into a tuna or had contracted diarrhea. Which meant that whatever had changed hadn't been them. Hey, where are we? It seems the same place, but we are no longer within that sphere, said Gohan, who looked around to try to locate himself. Amazing. I detect some very powerful keys. As powerful as... No. Impossible. Goku said as he took flight without asking Broly for permission or waiting for his son or former enemies to reach his destination. Wait, Papa, Gohan shouted as he followed him as if he were a baby duck. Therefore, as if they were migratory birds, Broly, Vegeta, Ginger, and Yam did the same. And while they were flying... Vegeta, have you noticed too? Yam said as she flew and observed the landscape around him with great amazement and concern. Yes, this place is very similar to planet Vegeta. Too much. Vegeta replied, who believed like Yam that they have become crazy. Look, a city. And it seems that there are people, and some are very strong, Gohan said while landing. And the closer they were to that city, the greater was the amazement of our group. Those people, are they human? Gohan asked rhetorically when he saw a city full of people so similar to him. No, they are Science. But without a tail. How is it possible? Br. Bro. Broly actually created a new planet Vegeta and Science? It's impossible, right? We're still in the movie, right? Ginger screamed with some fear at the thought of that great impossibility, while trying to find a reasonable explanation. Reasonable explanations that were very unreasonable too. Those clothes. It is the same as the Scions used before joining the Cold Army. And that city is very different from the one we lived in. Is much more habitable. Yam said, who looked from one side to the other trying to understand what was happening too. However, Goku and Vegeta, despite finding all this very strange and listening to the conclusions of their companions, they kept going in search of those powerful keys. Some keys located near the training fields on the other side of the city. Bam! Tom! Kiaj! Boom! That place was one of the few places where fighting was allowed on that planet. A place where dozens of elite Scions trained daily, fighting each other without affecting the city's infrastructure. Bam! Tom! Kiaj! That place was one of the few places where fighting was allowed on that planet. A place where dozens of elite Scions trained daily, fighting each other without affecting the city's infrastructure. Bam! Tom! Kiaj! That place was spectacular and huge. Hundreds of Scions were fighting at the same time. However, the most shocking thing wasn't seeing the number of Scions fighting, nor the spectacular battles they were having between them, but the appearance of the fighters. So shocking was that Goku and Vegeta exclaimed with their eyes wide open and their mouths disjointed, "What? How's that possible? There are many Super Scions." And so it was. In that place there were around 200 Scions, of which 82 were transformed into Super Scions, fighting each other, training, discussing strategies, and even teaching other younger Scions how to fight and transform into Super Saiyan. How is this possible? It's supposed that the Super Saiyan was a legendary being that only appeared once every 1,000 years. Why were there more than 80 in this place? How is it possible? I knew you would make that stupid face, but I didn't expect that for so long, Broly said as he approached the groundbreaking Goku, Ginger, Yam and Vegeta, who couldn't barely vocalize and move after that big shock. What's all this? What is happening? Where we are? Is this an illusion? Another joke of yours? What have you done this time? Vegeta asked incessantly to Broly as he tried to stay calm and not faint. Where we are? We are on the planet Sadala. Well, the planet Sadala from Universe 6, another universe where the Vegeta family never existed, Broly replied as he sat down to enjoy the fights of the Scions of Universe 6. Planet Sadala. Universe 6. Other universes? Everyone asked as they hyperventilated for being aware of the crazy situation they were in. Stop joking. Do you really expect us to believe a hoax like that? Yelled Vegeta, who was unable to assimilate that shocking revelation. But Broly, without taking his eyes off the fight, almost nonchalantly replied, but it's true. There are different universes. Our universe, where all of us were born, is the number 7, and the one I just teleported to us is the number 6, its brother universe. A universe in which Namekians, Scions, cold demons, earthlings, and many other things are the same as in ours. With certain changes, And one of them is that the Scions were never part of the Cold Army and later in the Frisia Army. I can't believe it. This is too much. Vegeta said, who was trying with all his strength to continue denying the obvious, although it was becoming increasingly difficult. But, how is it possible that there are so many Super Saiyan? Ginger asked, who accepted Broly's explanation as she found it more realistic than all the other theories she had formulated in her mind so far. Obviously Broly gladly answered that question that he already expected to be asked by guiding them to this place. Why? Precisely because in this universe the Vegeta family never existed. So under the Sadala lineage the Scions became the space police. Warriors who fought to maintain order and arrest criminals who sowed chaos and violence on other worlds. They catch criminals like the Scions of the Universe 7. Wow, in that place the Scions are the good ones. And infinitely stronger, Gohan said, amazed by this unexpected turn of events. And Goku, who had experienced the Super Saiyan, understood what Broly meant and continued with his explanation, I get it. To become Super Saiyan one must reach the limit of his power and have a gentle spirit. If those conditions are met after feeling such as strong anger or sadness one can become Super Saiyan. And the reason why there are so many Super Saiyans is because the Saiyans in this universe are good and kind people who help others. Right, Broly? Oh ho. I see that from time to time you can think sensibly, Goku. Exactly. Broly replied as he stroked Goku's head as if he were his student Gohan, whom he praised from time to time when he answered his questions well. That answer emotionally sank Yam and Ginger, but especially Vegeta, who fell to the ground on his knees. No, that. But Broly had no mercy despite the fact that the three ex-evil Scions realized what Broly wanted to say by bringing them here. He decided to finish them off. Verbally, I see that you have also understood, Vegeta. In this universe the Scions took a completely different path. A path that has made them the most respected, powerful, noble and admired race in the entire universe. A race that is kind to each other, that help their fellow man and try to live in peace and protect the peace of those who dare to threaten it. This is what has made them grow stronger and fulfill the necessary conditions to become Super Saiyan. Quite the opposite of what happened to your family, the greatest criminals of our race. Which deprived the Scions of this glorious future by turning them into homicidal monsters. Monsters that would never become Super Saiyans for behaving like scum. Reason why I never wanted to know anything about you. Reason why pus comes out of my ears every time I hear you speak about you fucking Saiyan pride. If you are proud to be scum, which is precisely what has made us weaker, pathetic and almost extinct as a race, do us a favor and kill yourself silently. Hard words. Harsh words that devastated the half-broken spirit of Ginger, Yam and Vegeta when they had no other choice but to recognize that everything they had done in their lives until they met Broly was a mistake. Everything they had believed that was the correct way to live as Saiyan had been nothing more than the greatest possible heresy. And although Yam and Ginger had given a little thought over the past few weeks, the corroboration that they had been going against the interests of their race until now and that in the bottom of their hearts they hadn't completely abandoned that path completely devastated them. And as for Vegeta, it was as if he had lost his soul that he lost along with his pride. Although those same words had the completely opposite effect on Gohan and Goku, who after having witnessed how their family weren't cruel monsters and verified that the Scions as a whole were an incredibly noble race that shared their same values and motivations. For the first time they were proud to be a Saiyan. Hey Broly, can I go fight one of them? I'm dying for a good fight, Goku said, asking Broly for permission to fight with one of those Super Saiyans who were training nearby. So much talking and listening had numbed him. He needed to fight to regain his spirits. Okay, you can go play, but only 1 hour. Then we will return to the planet Earth of Universe 7-inch, Broly answered as if he were a teacher allowing his students to go out for recess. Well. Come on Gohan, we will have fun together, Goku said as he carried his son in his arms towards the training ground. In this way the minutes passed. Minutes in which Goku was having fun fighting other Scions and Gohan towards new friends his age whom he wouldn't kill with a light touch. Minutes in which Yam, Ginger and above all Vegeta tried to assimilate everything that happened so far, trying to escape the depression in which they were sunk. Minutes in which the Scions of that place noticed the presence of someone famous. Oh look. It's Broly. Broly? That Broly? What other Broly could it be? Only he has a tail and 3 eyes. Oh. The legendary Broly is here. I will ask him to sign my limited edition Broly doll. Do you think he has a girlfriend? Even if he didn't have one, I don't think he would ever notice you. Wow, such muscles. Is he really a Saiyan? I can't believe it, the great hero who revolutionized the lives of the Scions. We owe it all. I think I'm going to pass out. I can't believe he's here. I still have chills when I remember that I tried to fight against him. The great hero who unmasked the evil Frost. He seems stronger in person than in the statue. He is the strongest in the universe. The one who defeated the legendary Hit. And also a fat purple cat that seems stronger than Hit. He is the greatest. Obviously the crowd went crazy, so much so that they rushed towards Broly in order to touch their great hero. The hero who defeated Frost, unmasking his criminal plot, defeated Hit, the strongest assassin in the universe, faced the god of destruction and showed the entire planet how to transform into Super Saiyan. Transformation that was easily overpowered by the kind Scions of the Universe 6. Thus creating the Golden Age of Scions. And granting Broly a great status all over the planet in due to his great contribution. Statues that Vegeta noticed. Broly, you. What are you? Vegeta asked upon seeing everything he was capable of, everything he knew, and how the Scions of that universe admired him. They admired him more than a king, more than his father, more than any other Scion ever admired him. And now he knew that he never deserved their admiration. Me? I am the true legendary Super Saiyan. Baby. Broly replied, who didn't receive the final ovation he expected from his beloved public, who kept asking for autographs and other revalued bullshit to resell in the space Amazon. So he tried again, slightly changing his method. I am the true legendary Super Saiyan who invites everyone to beer. Broly said as he materialized millions of beer jars around the entire training ground. All the surrounding Scions shouted euphorically, especially those with alcohol addiction. Am I the best, right? Broly shouted as he received the deserved ovations from a whole planet full of Super Saiyan, who nodded and chanted his name as if he were a rock star in a concert. Yes. Broly. 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 Can we leave now? Vegeta asked as he drowned his sorrows in one of the beer mugs Broly had materialized. Broly. 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 If you like this content, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you later, bye bye.